into the ring, the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle Talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airways, leading the pack. Breaking news, reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we've got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring the stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night. It is 8:05 p.m. Eastern. It is time for some Turnbuckle Talk, your weekly news program. I am Chris Best alongside OMD. OMD, how are we doing today?
I'm all right. I was having a good day, and then something happened. My boss hadn't been feeling good all day, and he got close, and all of a sudden I just started to feel a little bit more drained. But we're here to talk wrestling. It's not about me tonight. It's about the news.
Yeah, and we're going to start it off with some really sad news today. It was reported over the weekend that NWA wrestling legend Bobby Duncum Sr. has passed away. Good evening, Joe. Glad to have you here on the show. The wrestler's news was announced by the WWE on January 24th. First, he was one of the most feared villains of the territory days, coming from Austin, Texas, and he was as tough as they come. And from some of the stuff that I've seen from Bobby Duncum Sr., yeah, he was a tough dude, tough dude, taking on the likes of Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund. The guy had the list of guys this guy's wrestled reads like a who's who of 1970s pro wrestling. OMD, what can you say about this?
Well, again, this is just another fallen comrade, but he had a long life. As we're looking here, 1944 to 2026, he didn't fall into the trap back in the day of the heavy abuse, from what we can tell here.
Yes.
So I'm obviously more familiar with his son, Bobby Duncum Jr., who wrestled in WCW and passed away a number of years ago. But this is sad. And Bobby Duncum Sr., because he never made it to the big time, because he was a territory guy, he didn't get to the WWE. I'm sure he's probably in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and probably Cauliflower Alley, but we won't see him gracing the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, you got to remember when he started wrestling, the NWA was the big time, and he wrestled in the NWA.
Yeah.
Another thing that we didn't know, I just read up on him, is that he did also play in the NFL as well, signing with the St. Louis Cardinals in 1968. He only played 4 games with the Cardinals, but through that, he realized that pro wrestling was more of a better fit for him. And again, as you said, he did leave a legacy, or he did have a legacy as the Duncum family, with Bobby Duncum Jr. joining WCW and wrestling as part of the stable, the West Texas Rednecks. By the way, one of my favorite low card stables, I will say.
Yeah.
But Bobby Duncum Sr., we acknowledge you. Let's move on to some happy news, at least happy news for me personally. It has been officially confirmed that Evil is on his way out of New Japan and is expected to sign with the WWE. Evil, as former IWGP heavyweight champion, held several titles actually over in Japan. Basically, in Japan, he was what The Undertaker was in the WWE. Very mysterious gimmick, but once he got in that ring, he could whip your bottom.
Right. Now, I mean, we see he's part of the Bullet Club. I know he was part of House of Torture. What I'm wondering is, do we get to see his long-term tag team partner, Sonata, come with him as well?
Dude, don't make me even happier because I love Sonata.
As well, we know that this is potentially coming with his contract coming up at the end of the month. The expectation for him to sign. Do we see him wait until, say, next Monday, or do we see him this coming Saturday in Riyadh?
Let me just pull up the official information here. I actually have New Japan's website up here. After careful conversation, it says here, thank you for supporting New Japan Pro Wrestling. After careful consideration and discussion with New Japan management, Evil, who has been a longstanding member since 2011, by the way, of the New Japan roster, will be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling at the expiry of the contract at the end of January 2026. So that doesn't say it doesn't give an actual date, but
Right.
I gotta presume it actually will be on the 31st, which is the date of the Royal Rumble. I don't expect him to show up at the Rumble at all.
Okay. And I was going to say, does he come in and start creating a new group? We know that he's got allies in the WWE already, and guys like Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, AJ Styles. Do we see something there, some expansion on that history, or does he go and do his own thing?
I need him to do his own thing. I kind of need him to, because this has been the issue I've noticed with guys coming from New Japan. We saw it with AJ, we saw it with Finn, we saw it with Shinsuke. We even saw it with Gallows and Anderson. Well, we'll take Shinsuke out of that, but we saw former Bullet Club members all coming to the WWE, and we saw them all get together as a kind of union of former Bullet Club members. I don't need to see that.
Right.
I kind of need them to be apart. I didn't want AJ to be with Gallows and Anderson when they came in, yet we still got that. I didn't need that. I needed Gallows and Anderson to strike out on their own.
Right.
Bobby Stats is coming in saying, hello, everyone. Hello, Bobby.
And then the other question is, does he start in NXT, or does he just make that start right on the main roster?
Well, again, that's where Shinsuke Nakamura, right? He did have Evil did have an excursion over here working with ROH, TNA, all those companies back in 2012, I believe it was. Even Global Force he was brought over to do some matches for as well. I would put him back in NXT because of how long it's been since he's come over this way. And if you put him in NXT, it'll help him to learn and help him to grow into the WWE fold. Just like it, because it's worked for Asuka, it's worked for Kairi, it's worked for Io, it's worked for Shinsuke.
Right.
So that's what I would do with him. I'd put him in NXT, put him there for, I would say, maybe a year and a half, just to allow him to adapt. He already does have a name in the pro wrestling industry, and he can make it big come WWE.
Right. Okay, so I was going to say, do we see him have an extended time in NXT, or is he one of those guys that's brought over to adapt to the North American culture and then hot-shotted within, 6 or 8 months, but you want to go with the year and a half?
Yeah, because that's about how long Shinsuke was down there as well.
Right.
And Bobby Stats is saying, I would be interested to see how WWE books Evil. And yeah, I'm very interested too. I kind of, he does a very dark gimmick over in WWE or New Japan, because you mentioned Bullet Club, but he was also a member of Los Ingobernables de Japón as well.
Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Yeah, I said it right, actually. But I'm very intrigued. As Bobby said, he very interested to see how WWE works with him. I would like to see him go up against the likes of like Ethan Page and all that. And I know he's coming in at a very later age. He's 39 years old.
Right.
So this could be just a quick little, I don't know if it would be like his last hurrah, because I mean, I don't know what they're doing over in Japan right now, but they breed wrestlers to last long. I mean, look at Murder Grandpa.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to see if he even does come to WWE, because right now it's only speculation.
Right.
I don't want him to go to AEW, but there are heavy talks of him going to the WWE, and I think that is the better fit for him.
Right. Well, and from what I understand, and this was just something I read, so I don't have official confirmation, but he is in an apparent relationship with one half of our women's tag team champions, Io Sky.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to wonder, is having talked to his former Japan running buddies, and of course Io, is that what has allured him to the idea of coming to North America and to the WWE?
Yeah. In his personal life there, he said he was engaged to Io. They're no longer together. Okay. But that, again, wouldn't stop, them from bringing him over.
Right.
I just hope that he doesn't end up like a failed gimmick like, who was that Japanese wrestler they signed all the way back in 2004 that should have been good but wasn't?
Kenzo Suzuki?
Yes. He was good. Okay, Kenzo was good in the ring, but he just wasn't catching on with the audience. I think that's what it was.
Yes. But I think now that the world of wrestling has opened up a lot more from what it was back then, where Japanese wrestlers were, for lack of a better term, a little more closeted to the North American audience.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have that availability to see just about everything.
Yeah, and for those of you who have not been able to check out Evil, I highly recommend you go onto YouTube or even New Japan's streaming site and just look him up. He is just an amazing athlete. But as OMD mentioned, the world of wrestling, we would like you guys to join us in the world of podcasting.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever wanted your break in podcasting content creation, a potential collaboration, or just to help us out behind the scenes, turnbucklestudios.org is the place to be for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs. Meet the team, Mr. Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish, and the Godfather, Carl Carafel, in the host section. Get our socials. Watch our latest weekly live episodic shows, including this one, which will be up later tonight. Head over to the shop. Support your favorite shows. Support your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. All of the proceeds come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. And ladies and gentlemen, please, we implore you, hit that join button. Send us your credentials. Tell us how you can help us, how we can help you, and we can sit down as a collective and figure out the right fit. Turnbucklestudios.org for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs.
Yeah, now this next story, you are the one who brought it up to us, and we're gonna talk some commentators for a little bit here. One, Joe Tessitore, just this past weekend did some commentary for Zuffa Boxing and has actually signed on with them.
Yes.
Why don't you let us know about this?
He was announced as the official play-by-play announcer for Zuffa Boxing's first numbered event. This was number 001. And it happened on January 23rd at the UFC Apex, and it did stream live on Paramount. There was a whole host of people as part of this. You had Joe Tessitore, Max Kellerman was an analyst, so was Andre Ward. You had Heidi Androl, and a whole host of others. This was really, really interesting because Zuffa Boxing, Zuffa is also the parent company of UFC. So what I'm wondering is this just Joe Tessitore really opening up more avenues for himself? We know he's a very knowledgeable man. We've seen him do college football during the season. We see him do the play-by-play on, we've seen him do play-by-play on Mondays. We've seen him do play-by-play on Fridays, and now this. Is this just a testament to the man, his knowledge and his abilities, or is he trying to really spread his wings?
I think it's I think it's a testament to what this guy can do. This guy, like the first time I laid eyes on him at WWE, I'm like, who is this guy? And the moment like that, right after that interview, I'm like, okay, this guy knows his stuff. I can't wait to hear him talk. And I've heard him talk like at length about boxing. I've heard him talk length about college football. This guy is just well immersed into the sporting world. You could probably put him commentating fishing and he would know it. But yeah, I don't think it's him. Like I initially thought it was him stretching himself too thin, but then I realized like what a boxing schedule actually looks like, and it's probably every like 3 months he's going to go and do this event. I would have to assume. I kind of wish though, like I did go and watch some highlights just to listen to Tessitore's commentary. It made me wish that they weren't streaming on Paramount Plus because I don't have Paramount Plus right now, but it made me want to watch the entire boxing event based off his commentary. And it's in the way that he sells each boxing match, each football game, each wrestling match he does.
Right.
That makes me want to watch more wrestling, more boxing, and even sometimes college football. But I'm very excited about this opportunity for Joe. It is still under the TKO brand because TKO owns Zuffa, owns the WWE. So it's not like it's like a drastic move for him. He's still within the TKO brand.
Right. Do we see him at some point now appearing and doing a UFC show?
No, because I that's a bit too much because UFC does hold an event every weekend now. So
right. But I'm talking one of the big pay-per-views from UFC.
Yeah, and I'm saying no because again, they hold big events every weekend now.
Right. So I know when I first heard of Joe Tessitore coming to the WWE, I was like, okay, this is a guy who's a college football analyst. Has he been talking to Pat McAfee to get some background? He knows how to show his excitement and he knows how to do reserved analysis. And I've seen it in college football. I've seen it in WWE. I have not had a chance to see Zuffa Boxing because I, again, don't have Paramount.
Yeah, I looked up highlights on YouTube. So
yeah, and I'm not a huge boxing guy. But I am intrigued to see how successful Zuffa Boxing becomes and if this leads to maybe some burnout, as we have seen with other commentators who try and do a little too much.
But you got to remember right now with Joe Tessitore, I think that's all he's doing is commentary in WWE. When we had like, I'll use JR as an example, right? JR, not only was he doing commentary at the WWE, he was also working the day-to-day operations as a talent relations manager for the WWE. So when he wasn't on the headset, he was in the corporate office.
Yeah.
And then there's guys like Mauro Ranallo, who is and I'm not knocking Mauro in any way because he's a fantastic announcer, I think. He was doing NXT, then he moved to Raw. All the while he was still doing Bellator. He also was doing boxing as well. I think he might have stretched himself thin on that one.
Right. I know, like, obviously now the college football season is over. We did crown the national champions a week ago yesterday.
Yes.
But Joe Tessitore was there on Saturdays. I would hear him on a college game day in the booth. I don't remember if he did the game last Monday, just because I only watched it from like the start of the fourth quarter.
He's also in the NCAA football games as well.
Yeah.
He does.
So,
he's part of one of the commentary teams. They actually have like 4 commentary teams in the game, which is awesome. Yeah. WWE 2K, can you please do that too?
Right.
But no, like I'm excited. Again, I'm excited for this guy because, as we know, Joe Tessitore came straight from ESPN. And if you're going to work at a place like ESPN, working as a news reporter there, which I believe is what he was doing, you got to know all the sports.
I believe he was not only a news reporter, I do believe he was part of ESPN's college programming.
Yes.
So, and I think he was doing just football and basketball.
Yeah, but like I said, if you're going to go to ESPN or if you're going to work at TSN up here in Canada, and I've looked into TSN Canada, you got to know all the sports in some way or another. But no, congratulations to Joe Tessitore for this, for taking on this opportunity. And I hope to see more of him in the future do this. Just as we're going to send out our congratulations to Marissa McMahon. Now, fans may not know her. She at one time did work for the WWE, and she is the wife of Shane McMahon. She has been nominated for an Oscar. OMD, let us know about this one while I pull up the article.
So, Marissa McMahon was nominated for the Best Picture for her movie called Train Dreams. Now, again, we don't remember a whole lot because Marissa was very much behind the scenes. She was not a show person the way Vince was, the way Shane was, the way Stephanie was.
No, the only time we ever saw her on TV was if Shane had a match and she was sitting at ringside or something.
Right. So this movie, and it's on Netflix. It's streaming on Netflix. It was the movie Train Dreams. It's also secured nominations for the Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Song, and Best Cinematography. So she has also previously produced movies, A Private War, What Maisie Knew, and Animorph. But her Oscar recognition through the Best Picture is where producers are formally credited.
Yeah, this is a big deal for you guys out there who live under a rock, we'll say, because everybody knows what the Oscars are. The Oscars are like the WrestleMania for movies. You get nominated for an Oscar. It doesn't matter if you get nominated or even if you win. When you get nominated, you are still set for life.
Right.
So just to be even mentioned along the lines of the movies that she's going to be nominated against, and I'm going to pull that up here in just a moment here.
Well, there's one movie that I believe in that list that could bring back a little bit of an old rivalry, because I do believe that The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is up for Best Picture.
Yeah, Red, we are talking about Marissa being nominated for an Oscar. So being nominated for an Oscar is like getting an Oscar.
So the nominees, I do have the picture here from Twitter, X, are Begonia, F1, Frankenstein,
Yep.
Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams.
That's, again, big, huge deal. And again, all congratulations to Marissa just for the nomination. As I said, big deal for her. If she wins, all the power to her. She's up against some heavyweights though in the film in films right now.
Yes.
Especially with Hamnet, which has Steven Spielberg tied to it, Frankenstein, which has Guillermo del Toro tied to it, and F1, which I've heard has just been a fantastic movie, with Brad Pitt tied to that one.
Yes, being a huge Formula One fan, I want to see it. I just can't do Brad Pitt movies. Timothy Chalamet is in Marty Supreme.
Yes, he is.
I believe One Battle After Another is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, like I said, she's up against some heavyweights right now. So just to be in that conversation, big deal. It's a huge deal. But you know what else is a huge deal?
Our weekly programming.
Yeah.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we go TNA as we brace for Impact at 9 p.m. On Fridays, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later that night we have the Borsmist at 9 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day. And please visit turnbucklestudios.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, turnbucklestudios.org is the place to be for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs. You've seen our weekly calendar. Watch our latest weekly live episodic shows, meet the team and get our socials in the host section. Chris Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish, and Carl Carafel. Hit the join button, send us your credentials, tell us how you feel you can help us, how you believe we can help you, and we will sit down as a collective and figure out the right fit. Also, ladies and gentlemen, hit the shop link, support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters, wear what we wear. All of the proceeds come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. Turnbucklestudios.org for all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs.
Yeah, and this next one is a bit of a fun story. We saw Raw in Toronto, but the WWE, they're not quite done with Toronto. Toronto Raptors have announced a WWE night, which is going to feature for all the fans that have purchased tickets to the game. I believe it's on February 4th, I think was the date, you will be getting yourself a custom Raptors luchador mask. Every fan in attendance will receive a limited edition Raptors X WWE wrestling mask, giving the NBA matchup a pro wrestling feature. As that night they will be playing the Minnesota Timberwolves and will double as a WWE special, WWE night special. Game is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Toronto, with tickets currently available through Ticketmaster. While the team is heavily promoting the crossover, though, there's no announcement yet on whether or not wrestlers will appear there. And I got a feeling that we will see somebody there. I mean, Trish Stratus is in the area. You can call her and get her to do it. Ethan Page, Chelsea Green. I'm listing Canadian wrestlers who are employed by the WWE who could do this. Sami Zayn could do it.
Right.
Kevin Owens.
Yep.
This is awesome. Like, I love when WWE does these like publicity things. Natty as well. Bobby Stats. Thank you for that. I love when WWE and partners up and does these kind of publicity things.
Right. Well, we discussed a few weeks ago this partnership that WWE has created with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which is going to see a lot of crossover between things like the Raptors, the Leafs, and WWE. I've seen video of some of the players of the Raptors trying on these masks, including Grady Dick, Scotty Barnes, as we see here.
Yeah. We had Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes was on Raw last night.
Yes. So this is very, very intriguing. And like you, I love these crossover and cross-promotional events. So it is going to be interesting to see who they bring in, who they could have in Toronto for that night.
As I said, it makes sense to bring in some Canadian wrestlers.
Here's one I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a guy who lives in Canada, who's from Minnesota. What about Brock Lesnar attending the game?
I mean, he very well could, but it wouldn't surprise me, actually, if Brock was a basketball fan. I know he's a hockey fan. He's been in attendance for Winnipeg Jets games several times.
Yes.
But this is, I love it. I really do like this stuff. And I want to see WWE reach out and get more partnerships, maybe with MLB, and do a WWE night through with the Blue Jays or something like that, because the Blue Jays always have these kind of special nights too.
Well, I believe the Blue Jays do fall under the MLSE banner.
No, they don't, actually. No. They're under they got their own thing. But going back to the Blue Jays, like, I mean, dollar hot dog night at the Blue Jay Stadium is a huge deal.
Yes.
This is, I love it. I want to see this. I want to see them do this for the NHL as well.
Yep.
Especially with, like you mentioned, MLSE. I think Toronto FC though falls under that one.
Toronto FC, yep.
And the Toronto Rock, if I'm not mistaken.
I know it's the Leafs. I know it's the Raptors. I believe it's Toronto FC, and I believe it's the Argonauts.
Yeah, but for those who don't know, Toronto Rock is their National Lacrosse League team.
Yes,
but this is just amazing. Everyone gets to wear masks. If this game is televised, which I got to assume it will be on Sportsnet, because I think it's Sportsnet that has the Raptors contract. I'm gonna probably watch it just to check it out and see the fans wearing masks.
Well,
and enjoying the game.
Both TSN and Rogers have the Raptors, but I do believe that MLSE is partially owned by Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
So it would
have
I would
it's more than likely the game is going to be on Sportsnet. But if anybody else in the States, if you want to check this game out, it's February 4th. Game doors open at 7:30. I would have to assume tip-off time would be like 8 o'clock, give or take. just find your way to watch this game, check it out, see if there's going to be any WWE wrestlers there. Because I got to assume, I know that they do things during halftime. I've seen pictures of some of my friends who live in Toronto who have gone to Raptors games, and they do a lot of like cool things in the middle in halftime. Whether it's like you see the Raptor doing like a special dunk, maybe we see like I don't know, they bring Trish Stratus out and they have her try to throw a 3-pointer or something like that, you know.
I know, and I would love to see this happen. I've seen it at Nashville Predators games, of all things. They actually have an area where there is a ring set up, and they will run matches during the intermissions. So I would love to see something like that. Now, you can't get the ring down and set up on the court and back down in 25 minutes.
So something more like what Love Wrestling does with the Edmonton Oilers, then.
Yeah.
That is I'm a Raptors fan. I will admit that when it comes to basketball, I will, if I want to tune in to watch today's basketball, it will be the Raptors, and I'm going to check this game out. Definitely. Yeah. But again, February 4th, guys, 7:30. Be there. If you got the money to get some tickets, go down there. Get yourself a free wrestling mask.
Yeah.
If I had the money, I'd do it.
You and me both.
These are limited edition. They're going to be collector's items.
Yes, and they are nice looking masks. They are purple and black, so they do have the Raptors colors. And they're unique. Like, they don't look like anybody else's mask. So they didn't go and copy a Rey Mysterio mask for these.
They almost, to dive into a little bit of luchador history, looking at the mask, it looks almost like El Santo's mask, actually.
Okay.
I'm going way back there with that grab. But yeah, just get yourself a ticket if you're in the Toronto area. Go to this game, get yourself a free mask, sit back and enjoy 3 hours of exciting basketball action. This is cool. I don't want to see the WWE do this for just the Toronto teams, as we have mentioned. I'd like to see them do it for all kinds of different teams. I even do it for the NFL, and I know that they're huge proponents of the NFL.
Yes.
I'm certain there's a team that would gladly bring on a partnership with the WWE to do stuff like this.
I'm going to say this. If you look, and yes, I'm going to speak here as a Dolphins fan for that. But if you look at the state of Florida, yes, you've got AEW based in Jacksonville. You've got the Performance Center in Orlando. Don't you think that the Dolphins, the Buccaneers, or the Jaguars would love to have Roman Reigns and the Usos show up for a pep talk?
Well, not the Jaguars.
No.
They would rather have John Moxley, MJF,
Right.
Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, But yeah, wow, I could totally see Jey Uso doing that, just going in and just giving that pep talk and then having everybody eating.
Can you imagine Jey Uso coming through Hard Rock Stadium in Miami at halftime or whatever and just getting that stadium going on a Sunday afternoon with 4 letters, 1 word? I
could see him doing it at Paycor Stadium. Throwing a little jab at OMD there, because my team is the Cincinnati Bengals and they play at Paycor Stadium.
The only other stadium I could see him doing it at is whatever San Francisco stadium is, because he is from San Francisco.
Levi Stadium?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't mind seeing this. With the NHL, the MLB, do it. If WWE can get these partnerships, I encourage that these leagues and their respective teams get involved in this stuff, because
if you take a look at everything that the legacy titles are available for. You've got football, you've got baseball, you've got hockey, you've got college football. I haven't seen anything for college basketball yet.
I think it's NCAA in general, because if you think about it, like the Michigan Wolverines are also the Michigan Wolverines in football and basketball. Right. So I think it's NCAA in general. But like, even like, yeah, every week, if they're in a town that has a strong sports background, like last night, we saw Scotty Barnes in the crowd with the Raptors NBA title. I'm actually surprised we didn't see like Austin Matthews in the crowd with the Maple Leafs one or something like that.
Right.
We see it every week with the NFL, especially like when they've gone to Kansas City. I'm pretty sure I saw Travis Kelce a few times in the crowd.
Right. How many times do we see the Super Bowl champion? Somebody's already got the WWE legacy title on the field right after the game.
Yeah, it's synonymous. I mean, like I said, I think I'd like to see more publicity movements like this from the WWE. But yeah, that. I think that's all I can say about this segment, this right now. So we're gonna take ourselves a little commercial break. And since we were talking about belts and like people shopping for belts and getting belts, we've got a place where you can do some shopping. Take a look.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
And ladies and gentlemen, turnbucklestudios.org is the place to be for everything Turnbuckle affiliation program oriented. Meet the team. Mr. Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Chris Parrish, and Carl Carafel. Get our socials. Watch our latest weekly live episodic shows. Head over to the shop. Support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters. Wear what we wear. And all of those proceeds come back so that we can give you a better experience. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, hit that join button so that you can work with the incredible people we have here at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Send us your credentials. Tell us how you feel you can help us, how you believe we can help you, and we will sit down as a collective and figure out the right fit. For all your Turnbuckle affiliation program needs, turnbucklestudios.org is the place to be.
And guys, it is time for our showstopper segment. And it's a big one. You might even say it's a powerhouse one. Because Powerhouse Hobbs has officially signed with the WWE. We don't know exactly like when he signed the deal or how long his deal is for, but we just know that he is a member of the WWE roster. We're not even sure when he's going to debut. We all knew he was going to go to the WWE when his AEW deal wrapped up, which was at the January 14th taping of AEW Collision. Hobbs and his ops stablemate Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata dropped the AEW World Trios titles. Hangman Page and Jet Speed, Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight won the titles from them. That match aired on January 17th. But this is something we've been talking about for the longest time. Even, I think it was like, I want to say it was like a year or two ago, there were talks of Hobbs' deal coming up then. And we had speculated, we had wanted to see him come over to the WWE. I think this is a gigantic move.
This is huge for Hobbs, depending on where he goes. And in this situation, I think you start him in NXT. I've heard he's going to be hot-shotted to the main roster. But I think you need to start him in NXT and help find really what drives him, because in AEW, we've seen him go through numerous changes, subtle changes to his character, but there were times that I felt he got lost in the shuffle. I was thrilled with the Book of Hobbs character. I've got to go a little bit touchy here, but he went to using a phrase of, I'm big, I'm bad, I'm black. There was no need for that. And that, for me, was just the connotation behind it. So I think you need to really, really help give this guy something to strive for. I am going to assume that he debuts this coming weekend in the Royal Rumble. In fact, I'm going to give you this one. Do we get him and Obafemi to start the Rumble at 1-2 and get that monster spot?
I'm going to say no, because I kind of like, and I've said this in the past, I like when a surprise entrant comes in at like a random number, like at like number 21.
Right.
You know, none of these like expected numbers, like number 30, number 1 and 2, number 27, which is one of the winningest numbers in the Royal Rumble.
Right.
But Bobby Stats poses an excellent question here. Who would you guys like to see Powerhouse Hobbs go against in WWE? And you mentioned Obafemi. I would like to see that. I would 100% like to see that. If Big E was healthy, I would love to see that too.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd like to see him and Big E form a tag team.
I'm going to be honest, I don't want them to rush it, but I would like to see Hobbs and Ricky Saints. Hobbs and Cody, because there is that history, but I don't want them to rush it. I want them to be able to build and really develop Hobbs into something that doesn't have to transition, and he's not jumping faction to faction week in, week out. And then, you know, those two factions wrestle and he's a member of both. Which side is he taking?
Right.
So let him develop. Let's figure out who Hobbs is in the WWE first.
And this is where I'm going with this too. I think he does go. I think you got to start him off in NXT. Sure, you can debut him at the Rumble to showcase him. Or I would do the NXT after the Rumble and debut him. I would put him in NXT because with all the call-ups that are happening recently, with Javon Evans going up, with Obafemi on his way up, with Jordan Grace going there, it kind of does leave a bit of a hole in the NXT roster. And Powerhouse Hobbs, I think, could help fill that a little bit. And it, as we always see when an NXT call-up happens, it's more so because they're pushing newer stars in NXT.
Right.
And Powerhouse Hobbs could very well be that next star.
I'm going to suggest this. Does he debut next Tuesday in NXT, particularly during that 6-person ladder match to determine the new NXT champion?
I wouldn't put the belt on him right away if that's the case. That's the big worry.
They've already got the 6 competitors. Does he go in there and cause a disruption?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, we'll say somebody wins the match and then he shows up.
He shows up. He could show up in the middle of the match and just absolutely wreak havoc. You don't give him the belt, but you could have him steal it and then say possession is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
But then you don't want to have him lose clean to make sure your true champion is crowned. So maybe you have him in a, 3-way, 4-way where he doesn't have to take the pin.
Yeah.
To be stripped of the title.
But what I notice they like to do in NXT when they're showing a new wrestler on their way, especially in a championship match like that, Tony D'Angelo's in that match, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, okay. Well, let's say Tony D'Angelo wins, right? He's doing the whole celebrating with the title. Suddenly the lights go down. Powerhouse Hobbs music hits. We see Hobbs come to the ring and they're standing face to face and they fade to black. That's usually what NXT will do in a situation like that. Bobby Stats actually presents another good opinion. At some point, it would be nice to see him and Ethan Page go at it. If you want to build Hobbs up, you start him at the bottom. You build him to the North American title. Then you build him to the NXT title.
Here's the other one I'm going to suggest, and this involves hot-shotting him to the main roster. Have him come in as a heater for Kit Wilson.
Like he comes in as the muscle?
Yeah.
That could work too. But I think that would go against what Kit Wilson is doing with the character right now. With that toxic masculinity and making fun of wrestlers who are over muscular. You know? He said that same thing to Matt Cardona on Friday.
But Kit Wilson is the perfect heel to sit there and say that, and then to bring in a heater. Or I've suggested, do you have him come in as Jericho's heater?
And we talked about this, and that's where I compared it to when Mr. Hughes came in under the same kind of role.
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes, that's a deep grab. But no, I want to see Powerhouse Hobbs get away from the stable thing. Because as you said, he did a lot of it in NXT or in AEW. I didn't even want him to do that kind of stuff when he came to AEW. I want him to become like a one-man wrecking crew, a one-man powerhouse, just obliterate everybody. And then you can build him in the long run to a match against Brock Lesnar.
See, and I was not a huge fan of Hobbs in AEW because it just seemed to be, because he got lost in the shuffle and they seemed to have no direction for him. So he was here, there, those subtle character changes. And it was like, what's this guy doing?
I mean,
built like a brick hit house and you can't find something stable for him.
But they also couldn't find anything for Ethan Page, for Ricky Saints, for Brian Pillman Jr., Cody Rhodes, even.
Right.
So it's that mentality that I think when it comes to AEW and their wrestlers, they don't know what to do with all their toys. You know, they know what to do with all their top guys. MJF is doing fine right now. But when it comes to WWE, they know how to build and mold the talent that they have, or the talent that each wrestler has. Yeah. And just build upon it. It's like Legos. You start with one brick and then suddenly you've got yourself a house. And that's what they could do with Powerhouse Hobbs.
So, Bobby, I'm going to give you an answer to your question. And I'm going to say Hobbs, Gunther.
Yeah. And see, I subtly gave one of my answers there because you totally could do this. As I said, start Powerhouse Hobbs at the bottom, make him so that he's like a one-man wrecking machine, runs through everybody. Similar to what they're doing with Braun Breaker, but on a slightly different level. And then you build him to Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Him and Brock Lesnar would be just the ring might collapse with how much power those two men would have.
How about this one? Let's make it happen. We'll give you a fantasy dream match. Evil and Hobbs.
Oh, geez. And I'm trying not to show my bias, but I feel sorry. I think Evil takes the loss on that one. But we'd have to see, because again, this is one thing that a lot of we as fans sometimes fail to realize is that what Powerhouse Hobbs did in AEW and what Evil did in New Japan are going to be completely different to what they're going to do in the WWE and so on and so forth. That's the fine line with leaving one company to sign with another is you may be a star in one company, but you won't be in the next one. It's the same thing with the NHL is a perfect example of this.
Right.
There's always the one guy who's a star on one team, but then he goes to another team and he's not so much a star.
I'm going to pose this one to you. We just saw a shocking heel turn in TNA when the system turned on JDC and Moose last week.
Mm-hmm.
With Hobbs coming in, depending on what he's going to be known as, because we don't know what his name is going to be.
I really hope they keep him as Powerhouse Hobbs. I really do.
Do you immediately introduce him into the crossover and let him go partner with Moose? Or do you have him go over and take Moose out?
I think him and Moose would work together well as a team. I don't know if I would hotshot him into the crossover stuff right away, though. Because again, the way I see that stuff, if you're bringing in somebody new, like TNA just brought in Elena Black, I don't necessarily want to see her back on an NXT roster anytime soon.
Right.
Same goes with Sonya Deville, Daria, or whatever her name is over in TNA right now. I think I want to see the same thing with Powerhouse Hobbs. Give it a few months and then maybe work it into a crossover match.
Right.
Now that also doesn't mean to. I guess I could say that I wouldn't want him to go down to AAA either, because they do a lot of crossovers with AAA as well.
Right. Would a guy, and I'm going to go with another guy who is working AAA, would a guy like Apollo Crews be a good fit to work against Hobbs?
I think so. I miss Apollo Crews. I'm still very intrigued with that tag team angle that he was trying to do before he got injured. I hope they continue that with when he comes back to the main roster, if that ever does happen. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm very intrigued. Yeah, I'm very intrigued with what they do with Powerhouse Hobbs, where they go from here. But that's all I can really say about that. And thank you all for tuning in on this week's episode of Turnbuckle Talk, guys. OMD, let's take us out. What are those words you like to say?
Ladies and gentlemen, please always remember the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle Talk every day. Turnbuckle Talk every day.